Hey, Fix-It Tony here. Today I am going to talk about my car radio in my 1994 Mercedes C280 W202 chassis. This is the original radio. It has a cassette deck, a CD, and the problem I'm having with it is the volume control knob. It doesn't seem to be working as well. So let's check it out. So I turn it on. I have a power antenna, so I'm gonna try. So the issue is when I turn it up, sometimes the volume actually goes down, and even subtle adjustments, it sometimes is exaggerated. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to reproduce it while recording, but let's try. Music's calling and we got to get down. So you see what I mean? I'm trying to turn it down. There. Turning it up, but the volume is actually going down. And when I was trying to turn it down, the volume was going up. So I'm going to remove the radio and replace it with another radio that's the same model and era, and we'll see if it works. I'm trying to keep it the same look. I don't want to add a new look like other people have. Before I go ahead and remove the radio, I thought perhaps going over what will actually be happening and what is going on behind the scenes might just help with the visualization. So this is the radio that I'll be replacing, and Mercedes makes, or had, two suppliers back then for the radio. One was Alpine and the other was Becker. My car, I believe, has the Becker based on the VIN, and this is the part number. And the way you can find out if it's a Becker is that the sticker will actually say that it's a Becker radio. And the part number is here. This is the original sticker. This was a refurbished unit. So I'm hoping it's going to be okay. When I purchased it online, they did say it was tested and everything works. So we'll just hope for the best. Now, the way that these radios are removed is you'll see here tools. These are the Mercedes tools that you'll be using. These little, I don't know what you call these things, shim type of hook pulls. If you go online and buy a generic set, you'll sort of see it comes in, different radios. The Mercedes part one, you can see how it's going to be a little different. So one of these might work better than the others, but I'm going to use the original Mercedes. And what's going to happen is when I'm in the car, you'll see these open slots, and that's where I'll be inserting these pins on both sides. Now, I'll be inserting them with the flat side to the outside of the radio. All right, so what I'll be doing is the flat side to the outside, and I'll be inserting them in. Now, let's get a close-up as to what actually is happening. So the radio is held in place by this metal retaining clip, and what's happening is you can see the pull is getting pushed in. It's sliding in between this little groove, and you'll see right here it's pushing against this tab, and it'll be bringing this in. I'm going to push it in all the way until you hear a click. That click is now locking this tab in and locks this tab from popping out. So do the same thing on this side. Visually, what's happening is we're locking it. Then you'll be able to apply a little bit of outside force. And the reason we want to pull at the same time you're pulling out you'll be pulling outward. And the reason being is this remaining little bit here could still be hooking on to the frame or the housing. So as you pull out, the spring is pulled in and you get a little bit more flatness here, and it should slide out relatively easy. And to remove these, all we have to do is push this in all the way and pull that out. All right, you're gonna be pushing this tab that's already pulled in. You're gonna push it in some more. It releases pressure on this, and then you can just pull that out. All right, so that's how we're gonna remove these when we no longer need them. On the back side, keep in mind there's going to be a few things to disconnect. There's going to be an antenna that we'll be pulling out, a ground connector that we'll be pulling out, and we'll also be pulling out 2. Now, I may have 3 here. It all depends on what I do have a CD changer in the back of my trunk, so I'm curious how many plugs. I'm expecting at least 2. There could be 3. One could be the CD in the trunk module, but we'll see what we get, what happens when we arrive at that point. What else should you be expecting from this radio? I do have my code from the refurb. So for Becker radios, you will need to have the code, and the way that it works is I'm going to have to turn the car ignition on, and then I'll have to turn on the radio, and the word code will show up, and that code number for the radio will be this number here. I'm going to confirm the code entry with my seek button, and the word code on this display should disappear, and the radio should turn on. Before I attempt to pull out the old radio, I'm going to go into the trunk and I'm going to disconnect the negative terminal on my battery and place it away. I'm not going to show in this video the disconnection of the negative battery terminal, but it's important to do that. You don't want to have electric currents going through the radio or any part of the car during this operation for both safety of me and of the hardware. Before I put the radio in, there is a fuse in the back of the radio, so that might be worthwhile checking before you put the radio in to make sure that the fuse is still valid. So all we're doing is checking for continuity. So you should be able to just see a green light. Green light means good, continuity, fuse is not broken. So we'll just put that back in. Cool. One more quick point. I would write this down on a separate piece of paper so that I don't shove this in the hole and then realize the number was written on the back. And I'll be inserting the poles. Remember, this long side to the outside of the radio. There, that made it in. All right, and then we're gonna spread them and then pull at the same time. You don't have to spread them too much because this metal is pretty weak. Slowly and carefully. Okay, so here is the radio harness, and I don't have a ground connected to this middle post, so that's good. I unplug my antenna. It's just a plug like that. Now these cords back here, you should be able to just squeeze them together, slowly wiggle them apart. So I have the top one, as I suspected, and then so the orange ones predominantly. There. So the bottom one, here's the radio. And let's first take a moment to see what happened. So yes, the clips worked just like they did. I've got a Becker radio, so far I'm in the right spot. And I have all 3 of my slots will be used up. Now, for some reason, they fished the wire in between. I don't like that, so I'm going to just adjust this. There. So this is going to be the bottom, and this is the top. New radio. Just try to feel. It clicks in. There. So it should just slide right in. There's some resistance. So just like with any electrical situation, you have to push the wires in a way there. You have to hear that click. Okay, so I'm gonna go reconnect the battery. So I have my red security light blinking. Now I've got my owner's manual, and when I open up my owner's manual, there's a specific little card. So here. So in my car, the original radio code was this 5-digit number, and so my new code, I'm going to make a card like this and replace it in my owner's manual. It's important to have this code inside your car, because if there was ever any service done to the car and you needed to reset the radio because the battery was disconnected, you want to make sure you have the code handy, just for convenience purposes. Given that the radio is easy to remove, from a security standpoint, if a thief is smart enough to look in the owner's manual for the code, so be it. So I have my code written down. So I'm going to turn the car on. So it's asking for the code. So we're going to do 1, and I have to, because my second code digit is a 3, I hit 3, and then I hit 5, and then I hit 3, and then I hit 1, and then I hit seek. All right. So clear. I have to redo my presets. So that's just the easy task. So to do resets, put it to the radio station you want, and you push and hold the preset number until it beeps. What's pretty cool is that this radio has a weather band button, so you can actually listen to the weather station while you're driving. That's something that even modern radios or radios of this era didn't have, so this is pretty cool. Now, time to test the main problem that I was concerned about, which was the volume control. Now, let's see if we just move this gradually.
Becker has become one of the freshest and most vital new voices in UK music, and the new single First Time builds on the...
All right, that seems to work. I'm happy. Thank you very much for watching this video, and hopefully this will help you if you have trouble with your radio.